Hi everyone, welcome back to English for You. I'm Pat.
And I'm Mike.
And we're talking about Sealand, a micronation founded by former soldier Paddy Roy Bates. But it's not a big country, it's an old World War II fort about 11 kilometers off the British coast that he wanted to give to his wife as a present.
That's right. The idea was for him to set up his own private radio station there where he could play any kind of crazy rock and roll that you weren't allowed to put on the radio inside Britain. But he decided then to turn this island that was basically a fort into a country when he realized, wow, he's far enough away from Britain that this is actually not Britain. The water around this are international waters. So he can basically make his own country.
Yeah, now the government of Britain was not pleased and they sent ships back to claim it, but Michael Bates, Paddy's son, shot at them with a warning shot and the ships turned back.
Okay.
So they brought it to a court.
They did. The British judge, so when they caught Michael Bates, they took him to court for shooting at the British police or whatever. But the judge back there in Britain, back on land, said there couldn't be a court case because this incident didn't happen in England. This is in international waters. So it's a country. Or is it?
Yes. Was this recognition? The Bates family thought so. And what else has happened in Sealand? Read on.
Very strange story.
Reading.
Welcome to Sealand, the world's smallest country. You might think the story sounds dramatic enough already, but there's more to it. In August 1978, a German businessman hired some mercenaries and attacked Sealand while Bates was staying in England. They took Michael hostage. However, Bates would not let Sealand be taken without a fight, so he came back with his own mercenaries to rescue his son. The German businessman was put in the Sealand jail and wasn't released until a German diplomat was sent from London. Bates and his family claimed this is the second official recognition of Sealand. Now, Sealand claims to be the world's smallest country and even has its own money, stamps, and passports. For a while, the micronation made money by housing the first data haven called Haven Co. This service allowed people across the world to store their information without governments being able to access it. However, Haven Co. went out of business in 2008, and it's not clear if Sealand offers similar services now. It does make some money from giving titles, such as lordships, for a fee though. Honorary titles have been offered to stars, such as TV host Ben Fogle and Canadian reporter George Stroumboulopoulos, for helping Sealand in various ways.
All right, so back to the article. We've already learned that Sealand is a pretty interesting place. Even if you don't think it's a real country, it's definitely a very interesting place. Now, the article for today begins, you might think the story sounds dramatic enough already, but there's more to it. Yes, so far the story has been dramatic. This guy moves into an old fort, wants to make a radio station, has a fight with the police or soldiers, becomes an independent country. It's like it's a movie. That's why we would use this adjective dramatic, because drama is the kind of action and emotions we see in a movie or in a story. A lot of feelings, people fighting, people loving each other, and it's all very exciting. It's not boring and normal and what you expect to see every day. No, it's really something that will catch your attention, become a great story for the rest of your life because it's full of drama. It's very dramatic. For example, as the boxers came out before the fight, dramatic music began to play. Bum, 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 or heavy metal, or something loud and powerful, filled with emotion and drama.
So what is the next chapter of the story? We see in August 1978, a German businessman hired some mercenaries and attacked Sealand while Bates was staying in England.
This is like a movie.
This really is.
I think this actually was a movie.
Okay,
I'm
well,
not sure.
It really did happen. And it
God.
happened when a businessman from Germany hired some mercenaries. To hire means to give someone a job, to go, all right, you work for me now. Here's your money, here's the job, here are the terms and conditions. You are hired, you work for me. For example, Bruce and Sheila have 3 young kids now, so they have decided to hire a nanny to help them. They'll pay her to look after some, take the kids to school, do a bit of shopping, that kind of stuff. But here this German businessman is not hiring nannies. He's hiring mercenaries.
That's right. If you hire someone to work for you, well, hiring a nanny, a cleaning lady, a gardener, or a driver, that might be kind of normal. Hiring a mercenary is definitely not normal because a mercenary is a soldier that fights for money, not for their country. Many of these people started as regular soldiers. They joined the army, say, in Taiwan. They learned to be soldiers. They learned to be super tough and, use lots of weapons and whatever. And then after a few years, they're like, well, soldiers don't get paid very much by the government, but if I work as a mercenary, I will work for anyone who pays me. I'll make a lot more money. Actually, mercenaries are used these days in some parts of the world. Often we think of them as fighting in sort of illegal wars for sort of bad governments, but basically it's a soldier who works for anyone as long as they pay that person, as long as they pay the soldier to do the job. So this businessman hired these soldiers to go there and take over the island.
Yep, we see in the article they took Michael hostage.
The son?
Yes.
Oh my God.
To take someone hostage means you capture them and you hold them prisoner and you say, I'm not going to release this person until someone meets my demands. So,
Pay me or I'll do something bad to him.
Exactly. So they don't just take them and put them in jail for a crime. They go, basically, he's ours now. You do what we want, or we're going to kill him. We're going to chop off his toes, something like that.
Why does a German businessman care about this? This is such a strange story. Anyways, however, it says Bates, that's the son who was...
father.
Oh, sorry, the father. Okay, Bates would not let Sealand be taken without a fight. So he came back with his own mercenaries to rescue his son. So he hired his own private soldiers. They went there to try to save the son who was being held hostage. I also read, like a movie, that the son was fighting the mercenaries using weapons he had hidden around the Sealand fort.
So he's Bruce Willis.
So he's like the Bruce Willis in those action movies, fighting with a kitchen knife or a gun he put behind his bed or something, and his father's coming in. This is really crazy.
It's amazing. Let's go to today's language in focus. So in that sentence, we use this pattern of not ... without ... And we use this pattern to say that something didn't, or if we're talking about the future, won't happen until a particular condition was or is met. And it also emphasizes the idea that this thing will not or could not have happened without something else. The two negatives, without and not, make the whole sentence stronger. For example, you could say, I'm not going to go out without my coat on such a cold day, or we're not going to lose this game without trying our best. The two negatives there make the message a lot stronger. So Paddy said, we're not going to give up Sealand without a fight, and we're going to rescue my son.
I assume James Bond was one of the mercenaries that the father hired, because that's all we need to turn this into an action movie. But yes, they were successful. They saved the son, or as it said there, they rescued the son. To rescue someone is basically to save them from danger or some kind of terrible bad situation. I mean, generally when we think of rescue, we think of firefighters going into a burning building. But if you run out of of gas and it's a rainy night and you're cold and you can't get home, you might call your mom or dad and say, "Can you drive here and rescue me?" You're not really in danger, but you're in a bad situation and you need someone's help to get out of it. For example, Andy was very brave to swim out and try to rescue the surfers who were in trouble. In that case, he might have saved someone's life.
So what happened as a result of this mercenary on mercenary fight of Sealand, the battle for Sealand?
I don't know, but it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, we see the German businessman was put in the Sealand jail, which is, I guess, just like a room somewhere.
It's a country. It needs its own jail.
A locked cupboard.
It's basically the bathroom. Yes.
Yeah, and wasn't released until a German diplomat was sent from London. Notice we used there the wasn't something until something. That's another variation of this not without pattern, with two negatives making the message stronger and talking about the condition that needs to be met to fulfill a particular thing. So he wasn't released. They kept him hostage now. Well, release means to let somebody go from their confinement, from their prison. If you're a prisoner, you're in jail and you've done your 5 years, then out you go. You are released after 5 years.
You're free.
Yeah, if you talk about maybe an animal is in a cage, you open the door, it's released back out into the wild to live by itself.
Or even if you have a dog on a leash and you're walking it, once you get home, you'll take the leash off. Now the dog is free to run and walk and go wherever it wants.
Exactly. You could even talk about releasing the kids from their classroom.
True.
They're in there, they are not allowed to go out, but then the bell rings, they are released, they can go. We could also say after 2 weeks in a hotel, Valerie was very happy to be released from quarantine.
Okay.
Very topical, yes.
Yeah. She's not locked up, but she really isn't supposed to leave that place until a certain time. Then she will be released. She's free to go off and go where she wants. In this case, they needed a diplomat from Germany. That's the same country, of course, as the businessman. And a diplomat basically does a country's business or the government's business with other countries in other countries. So for example, if Taiwan wants to do business or have, important talks with Australia, it's a lot of trouble for Tsai Ing-wen or whoever the president is to get on a plane, fly to Australia, talk to people there. And there's a lot of business that presidents aren't really, it's not important enough. The diplomats, they do that kind of thing. So whenever there's any kind of agreement or when two countries cooperate, join together to do something, whether it's having students go from one place, having sports teams come and visit, having art from one country go to another so that people there can see it, diplomats will often be in that sort of making the relationships go smoothly, doing the talks, doing the business from one country to another country through their governments. That's what diplomats do. But wait, if a diplomat from Germany goes to Sealand, doesn't that mean that Germany says it's a country, kind of?
Well, that is certainly what Bates thought. Bates and his family claimed this whole incident with the diplomat as the second official recognition of Sealand.
Right.
Why would a government diplomat get involved if this wasn't a country?
If it was part of Britain, this German diplomat would be busy in London, where the British government is. He wouldn't bother coming out there because it's part of Britain, but it's not. Now it says Sealand claims to be the world's smallest country and even has its own money, stamps, and passports.
Okay.
A lot of people would say the Vatican City in Rome is the smallest country. You might not find Sealand in the books, in Wikipedia as the smallest country, but they say they are, and they have money. They have stamps for mailing letters and passports for traveling like countries do.
Okay, so but if you're a little micronation like that, what are you going to do for your economy? Do you do guided tours? Do you build a factory there? How do you raise money for your little country?
Good point.
Well, we found out they got clever and modern. We see for a while the micronation made money by housing the first data haven called Haven Co. Co usually stands for company, so Haven Company, and a haven is a safe place for something. We often talk about ships needing a haven when there's a storm. They find an area near the land where the storm wouldn't hit them or affect them so badly. A tax haven is a country or city somewhere that doesn't ask people to pay a lot of taxes on their money. So rich people transfer their money over there cleverly and then they don't get taxed. Here, it's a data haven.
Okay, and kind of like tax havens, data havens might be something that some governments say that's not allowed, that's breaking the law. But other people would say, well, if we don't do it in your country, we're not breaking a law. And that was basically the idea. This service, this data haven, allowed people across the world to store their information without governments being able to access it. So if you were trading in like Bitcoin, if you were sharing movie files over the internet, some of this stuff is illegal in certain places. But if you keep all your data, all your servers and things like that computers use to trade information in another place, well, maybe you'll stay out of trouble, at least for a while. So if I have all my computer data outside of the country, I will be able to access the data because I have the password, but governments might not because they don't control that area, that land, or those computer servers. But to have access to something or to access something is basically to open something, to be able to get into something. The best way to access a room would be to walk through the door. But if the door is blocked or if there's an earthquake, you might have to access the room by climbing through a window or something like that. You also use different things to access stuff. A simple thing, a key. A key will allow you to open a lock, and that will allow you to access the room. Or a computer secret code or a PIN number will allow you to access your bank account in an ATM machine or get in to read your email. Other people can't, but you want to be able to do it. You want to be able to get in or access that. For example, yes, a username and a secret password will allow you to access your profile on this website, and other people will not be able to access it without that information.
So, it was a good way to make some money.
I guess so, yeah.
Pay us, we'll store your data, governments can't get it. But as the article says, however, Haven Co. went out of business in 2008, and it's not clear if Sealand offers similar services now. So if it's not clear, we don't quite know. Maybe they're just not being public about it. Maybe they're keeping it kind of quiet, so governments don't know. But we know Haven Co. at least went out of business. To go, or in past tense, went out of business. This means a company stops operating because the company has lost all of its money. You know, we've gone bust, we've got no more money left, we can't pay people, we're going out of business. Sell whatever's left and we all go home.
They stop doing what they normally do. Exactly right. So what are they doing now to make some money? Because of course, they do need money to keep this country, running. It says it does make some money from giving titles such as lordships for a fee, though. So you can become a lord of Sealand, or a lady, I guess if you're a woman. This would be a lordship or a ladyship, but you have to pay for this. What is a lordship? Basically, it's something that allows you to call yourself a lord. What is a lord? Well, that's a good question. It probably means that you're really good friends with a king or a queen or a prince, or more in the modern times, you've done something really great for the country. Maybe you were a general in the army. Maybe you won a lot of gold medals and brought a lot of glory to your country. And then they say you have this special title. You can now call yourself Lord something of a place. But also, you can buy these things. In some places, you can buy it almost as a tourist souvenir. You'll be able to pay some money and they'll write your name in a book, and now you can call yourself Lord something of a certain place. It really doesn't probably bring a lot of power to you or anything like that, but it certainly is something kind of unique and interesting that will make you stand out from other people.
But you don't need to pay money to become a Lord of Sealand. There's another way. We see honorary titles have been offered to stars, such as TV host Ben Fogle and Canadian reporter George Stroumboulopoulos. That's it?
Perfect.
Stroumboulopoulos.
Yes.
For helping Sealand in various ways.
Okay.
So this is an honorary title. If something is honorary, it is given to you, it's a gift, it's an honor, but you haven't kind of done the work or you don't fulfill the normal responsibilities. In this case, these people haven't bought their lordship, they just get it. If you're an honorary graduate of a university, you didn't study for a degree there, the university just wanted to honor you by giving you a degree as if you had studied there. So these guys, they got their titles, they are lords, but they didn't pay the normal fee. So that's one way these various stars can get this kind of job,
right?
Or get this lordship.
That's right, various ways he can get this title. When we use the adjective various, we're just saying there's lots of different types or lots of different ways. There's a variety, that would be the noun form. You know, if you go to a restaurant, most of them will serve various kinds of food, right? They don't just serve one type of food. They serve salads and soups and hot dishes, cold dishes, desserts, all sorts of stuff. So it's there's various types of food on the menu, meaning lots of different types or styles. There's a choice, basically. For example, while on holiday in Alaska, Diana tried various winter activities like ice fishing and snowshoeing. These are all things you do in the winter, but they're different, and there was a choice of activities for her.
Okay, so Sealand is still there. If
wow.
you want to visit it and become a lord there, go right ahead.
I guess you need a boat.
Yeah, but that's...
definitely need a boat.
Maybe a helicopter could land there.
You could probably try that.
But that's all the time we have today. Let's go now to our For You Chat question.
For You Chat.
So our question is, could you live in a place like Sealand? Explain your answer.
Do you mean could I live in a micronation or could I live in an old fort out in the middle of the ocean?
Either, I suppose. A place like Sealand.
Well, micronation, it would depend, but if it was like Sealand in that it's an old fort out in the middle of the ocean, I don't know. I think it might be interesting for a nice holiday, but it would probably be cold and windy. And imagine if you ran out of anything. You can't just go to the store and buy toilet paper. You'd have to plan everything, have a boat. What if there's an accident? Getting, help would take a lot of trouble and time and maybe not be possible. So no, I don't think I would like to. It sounds more inconvenient than fun. But it might be fun for a few days.
Yeah, go for a trip, go for a party, go for a little historical wander round to see these. Oh, this is where that German businessman was in jail.
There you go.
This is where two mercenaries had an arm wrestling match.
That's right. All very cool. Now, can I please go home?
Yeah, get me back on the boat, that kind of thing. But yeah, I agree with that one too. That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. For English For You, I'm Pat.
And I'm Mike.
We'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Vocabulary Review.
Dramatic. This movie is so dramatic. I have never seen one as exciting as this. Hire. Steve's company decided to hire some more employees because there was too much work to do. Rescue. The firefighter rescued the cat from the tree after it was stuck there for several hours. Release. Fred was released from jail after the police realized he didn't kill the woman. Access. Jenny couldn't access her computer after her sister changed the password without telling her. Various. Jimmy has various cars, but his favorite is the small red one.
智慧小补帖
Mercenary. Hostage. Diplomat. Haven. Honorary.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net